Welcome, everybody, to this additional episode of DPAA Short Connects and this continuing series where we go inside the hearts, the homes, the minds, the strategies, and tactics of business, advertising, and marketing leaders throughout the world. And I'm very proud to have two special guests today who have a lot of great experience in retail, in out-of-home, and other areas of advertising and marketing. We have Margit Kittridge and Norm Chait. Margit is Director of Advertising Technologies at Peapod Digital Labs, which is Ahold Delhaize company. Did I get that correction right? Give me the best pronunciation.
Delhaize.
Delhaize, Ahold Delhaize, U.S. company. Is that correct, Margit?
Yes.
Excellent. Ahold Delhaize, thank you. And Norm is Group Sales Director and the out-of-home practice lead at Quotient Technologies. Much easier for me to say, but I'm glad you folks are here today. Let's start with Margit. Margit, tell us a little bit about Ahold Delhaize, USA, and also Peapod Digital Labs, where they intersect, and let's go for that. Tell us a little bit about that first.
Sure. Thank you, Barry, for the introduction. So announced in May 2018, Peapod Digital Labs is an Ahold Delhaize USA company that serves as the omni-channel e-commerce grocery engine for the great local brands of Ahold Delhaize USA, which are Food Lion, Giant Food, the Giant Company, Hannaford, and Stop and Shop. Peapod Digital Labs also serves as the innovation lab for the US portfolio of companies, driving omni-channel innovation, technology, and experience to meet the changing needs of customers, regardless of when, where, and how consumers choose to shop today.
Yeah, it's so important that you, like we are, focused on the omni-channel experience. I mean, consumers and brands are touching all points. So that's critical. And Margit, tell us, what's your role there?
I'm part of the AD retail media team, which sits in Peapod Digital Labs. Our focus is to help consumer packaged goods connect with customers through an integrated ecosystem of marketing and media platforms. Because AD retail media is built to support each of the local brands of Ahold Delhaize USA, we have focused on solutions we are able to offer across companies. As a director of advertising technology at Peapod Digital Labs, I'm responsible for driving revenue growth by leading new national advertising product and technology developments on the e-commerce platforms, as well as in-store, at-store venues of Ahold Delhaize USA local brands, including sponsored search, on-site, off-site display, in-store signage, digital out-of-home, shelf impact ads, and data partnerships.
Well, that's a big brief, Margit, and I know they certainly got the right person to do that. You know, you and I have known each other for a while. You've got amazing experience in the agency business, in the out-of-home business, in the retail business. So I'm sure you're very pumped and excited about this job. If I could ask you just to reiterate the great brands under the umbrella again, because I think we want to give that its due.
Absolutely. So the great local brands of Ahold Delhaize USA are Food Lion, Giant Food, the Giant Company, Hannaford, and Stop and Shop.
Excellent, very impressive. And so ADUSA is basically bundling all of these elements and packaging it up together, and then you're targeting the right customers and bringing CPG value to ROI. Have I got that right? You're monetizing the screens?
Yes.
Okay, good. And let's I don't know if, Norm, you have anything to add to that, or we can continue with, if you have any comment on that, we continue with Margit.
Yeah, I mean, I think Margit described it perfectly. I mean, first, thanks for having me on the session today. Great to be a part of it. We work very closely with ADUSA and Margit's team in helping them navigate a lot of those different areas like e-com and and using our purchase data that we work with based on what they provide us to plan and buy smarter. So it's a really terrific partnership that allows us to do much more than digital at home. But I know we want to focus on that particular area today.
Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about, so you're in a new role, Margit, and I assume you've been working from home. What has that been like starting the new role and kind of managing everything from, you're outside Chicago, right?
That's correct. I have started in this position last summer, completely remote and working in my home office ever since. I haven't had a chance to meet anyone yet in person, only virtually. Well, despite all of this, I feel that I am truly an integral part of the retail media team at Peapod Digital Labs. Joining calls using video really helped me connect and meet colleagues from our US and global offices. I feel also that I'm lucky to have a great team supporting each other, work well together. So regular face-to-face virtual meetings, open lines of communication really help, get us through the day every day, even today. And another thing to note that hundreds of associates were hired remotely and virtually last year at Peapod Digital Labs. So I don't feel alone. Additionally, there are multiple great programs like Women in Technology Plus or PDL, Peapod Digital Labs Wellness that help us connect virtually every day.
That's great. I'm going to hear about Norm's remote work. I don't know if you know, you haven't met Norm in person yet, but he's actually 6'6". Did you know that?
I did not.
Sitting down, yeah.
And you'll be surprised when you say, I'm only joking, but it is funny these days where, you've got really no sense of the whole person until you see them in person, which the good news is, we're coming back. So drilling a little deeper there, it seems that you're using Quotient's technology to power ADUSA's retail media. And then you can, as I'm understanding it, you can target the right customers, measure response, and bring value to the CPGs and ROI. And this is pretty robust also in terms of digital out of home. So can Norm talk about maybe the digital out of home applications, and then we'll come back to Margit.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. And I think you captured really correctly. I think what's really unique about the relationship is, the fact that we're moving into more of a data-driven approach, the fact that we can take exclusive proprietary data like the ADUSA shop or purchase data, intent data, and actually understand how that translates to physical locations like digital out of home. Like, so being able to take and understand, if it's a hair care purchaser or frozen pizza buyer or those kind of inputs, and start to apply to physical locations, understanding what are the right screens at the right time and reaching those right customers, so that it's not just when people are en route to store, but when they're physically on site or actually even physically in the store making those purchase decisions. Our ability to guide that conversation and inform those decisions for our CPG brands that are excited to get closer to those moments that are critical and getting more product into the basket. I think having a more data-driven approach is what's really transforming what we do and what we do together as partners with AD Retail Media.
And Norm, you've been a great out-of-home professional for so many years, and you have really witnessed the evolution of out-of-home with data, with digital. And would you say that in this current role now that you're working with Quotient and your partners and yourself, that the ability to deliver not just locations, but impression-based data and target audiences has a powerful effect here?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually the part that truly drives me and motivates me. To your point, like, I've been doing this quite some time. I'm a legacy out-of-home guy. I've always been passionate about the space, and I've always felt like, yes, we have amazing real estate and really unique locations, but to now take a more consumer-driven approach that's based on data and insights and in real time, especially during a very unprecedented period of time. The last 15 months are a great example. To be able to lean on real-time data to understand what people are doing, where they're spending their time, why out of home is a great way to connect, and to be able to bring those data points forward is what really gets me excited. Because while we had a terrific story all these past years, to now bring that forward and to talk to CPG category who are very data-driven, very all about the consumer, to be able to demonstrate to them how we are connecting with those consumers and have that same currency as they have on many other formats is really a game changer for our industry.
That's right. That gets me excited too. I mean, now digital out of home can deliver like other media, like mobile data and websites and apps and even like video online as well. Margit, I don't know, before we get back to kind of the working from home scenario and all that, was there anything that you else wanted to add that maybe we've left out?
So Quotient is Peapod Digital Lab strategic partner for national retail media. And we have recently started working with Quotient on to utilize digital out-of-home campaigns to reach the shoppers of Ahold Delhaize USA. And with the help of Quotient, just like Norm mentioned, what's unique here really is we can prove digital out-of-home return on ad spend the same way we measure e-commerce media campaign effectiveness. Quotient has access to ADUSA purchase data that can be leveraged for closed loop measurement for e-commerce and digital out-of-home campaigns as well. And that's a unique capability. Our partnership are twofold. One is Quotient can monetize ADUSA brands digital out-of-home inventory as an integral part of any offsite media campaigns targeting grocery shoppers, but also help us measure the effectiveness of ADUSA brands digital out-of-home media campaigns with the help of sales lift measurement, again, using mobile location data, ADUSA purchase data, foot traffic attributions, or brand lift effectiveness studies.
That's really well said, Margit. So what we're seeing here is that whereas an example, traditionally out of home would be good at branding awareness and maybe reach at the top of the marketing funnel, now we're able to do all of that and also go right down to enable consideration and ROI and purchase and taking action. So it goes throughout the whole marketing funnel. That's really good to see. Norm, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, just think about like just the words that Margit just ran through, everything from a return on ad spend and attribution and just effectiveness and all those things that historically weren't part of the out-of-home conversation, right? So I think the fact that we're talking about data-driven solutions, the fact that we can activate programmatically and measure success. I mean, it's really an end-to-end solution. So you start with data and insights from a planning perspective. You see it through from activation. It's not just an IO based. You can literally go in and apply certain triggers. Again, because it's programmatic, it's data-driven. It's all about the consumer and that particular behavior. And ultimately see it all the way through to the endpoint of understanding did that exposure to those ads drive an additional purchase. So those types of things are super exciting. It's the future of our industry, and I think we're thrilled to be working together with ADUSA and Peapod Digital Labs in that capacity.
That's great. And going back to this omni-channel, very important theme here. Norm, your company works across mobile and e-commerce and social as well. So you're kind of punctuating all those points, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the theme of omnichannel is starting to be pretty persistent. I think we recognize that there are lots of consumer touch points throughout that journey, right? And our ability to bring in based on what a brand's objectives and KPIs are, like how do we pull in the right solutions? And because we sit on such rich data, the ability to have those solutions actually be meaningful ones that we can then measure at the end is what we're all about. So.
Good.
Exactly.
Let's talk a moment about the consumer experience. So, grocery retail has always been an essential service, even more essential during this past, 18 months. And it's really been evident. The Quotient movement data shows how vital the stores are to consumers, and manufacturers and CPGs are, leveraging this as we're discussing there. How do you see digital out-of-home playing even more of a role? I think Norm covered it, and Margit, I don't know if you wanted to add to that a little bit.
So ad retail media team that I'm part of is actively working to bring digital out-of-home solutions to life in partnership with the great local brands of Ahold Delhaize USA. And we have partnered with Volta. You can see a station.
Another
right
great
DPAA
member, I should say.
Absolutely. So we have partnered with Volta for a unique marketing platform using charging stations that enable free sustainability while delivering advertising. So these electric charging stations enable us to take the power of in-store and on-site marketing messages and deliver them at the front door to the shoppers as they start their journey. These engaging digital media screens, they offer creative features that you expect from any digital out-of-home screen, and even more. Brand engagement, QR technology, geofencing through the mobile retargeting. In 2021, Giant Food and the Giant Company are offering these screens, and we anticipate that Stop and Shop will also offer them in the very near future. Food Lion and Hannaford are also exploring this concept. So by the year end, we expect that there will be nearly 200 store locations with Volta stations in the total across of Ahold Delhaize USA brands.
That's great. I'm so glad you're partnered with Volta, because Volta is not only providing a powerful marketing screen and message right at the store there, but in addition, they're doing good work for the ecology, which is just so critical today. And as witnessed by their recent valuation, they're doing very well. Norm, in terms of the user experience, the grocery experience, sheltering in place, you folks are making great progress working with your partners there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly, grocery retail was a major essential service and destination for people during these crazy, unprecedented times where people, it's not that, shelter in place orders were put down across the country, but it's not that people weren't leaving their homes. They were still, they were making just more purposeful trips, going to stock up for their families. So these were major destinations all across the country, really vital to, kind of being able to see it through and get us back to whatever normal is going to be these days. I think what's interesting about digital at home sort of being there throughout that journey is that, it was important when people were thinking about grocery retail and stocking up, that it was a great way for CPG manufacturers and grocery retailers to stay top of mind with those shoppers, because they were thinking about exactly that, going to grocery versus having it just be one of many types or stops along their way. They were making that purposeful trip. So for digital at home to be sort of front and center and allow whether it's category leaders or challenger brands to connect with their shoppers as they were literally about to enter those stores was really important. And I think to be able to also talk to brands that are not just funding this from national budgets, they're bringing in shopper dollars because they're starting to see that these are measurable solutions. So it's much sort of closer to sort of lower funnel metrics that are more performance driven, and our ability to prove out success and demonstrate that it starts with audiences and planning. Those things are all really important in telling that story and part of the recovery that we're starting to see today.
Excellent. And activating this inventory programmatically gives an amazing amount of flexibility and targeting, right?
Well, I think it's a great point. I think, because of the uncertainty, at least, and being able to track movement and behaviors across, week after week, DMA by DMA, you can actually see if there were certain spikes in the market and you have activity running or impressions being served out there, you can stop and start and be dynamic and shift and, make those adjustments to ensure that, your ad dollars are working as hard as they could and took advantage of the data that, that we were seeing in real time. So and the ability to do that at, with that kind of precision, but doing it at scale, I think was really, a great story to be able to convey.
Yeah, this has become such an important point, Norm, for the past, once again, year and a half during COVID, where advertisers, brands, agencies, marketers have all noticed that digital out of home via programmatic can pause schedules if needed, can push schedules, can move schedules to where audiences are without a lot of contractual work, human involvement in a much, much more efficient system, just like other media. So that has really raised the level of planning and spend in digital out of home because of the programmatic and the data capabilities that you both are describing. In fact, the data that Quotient has been delivering for the past year, we've been publishing in Some Good Do News. That's Do, D-O-H, which comes out from DPAA every week. And really that Quotient data has helped brands and agencies and our industry understand where consumers are, where they're coming out, and thank God people are coming out now, which is great. We always like to end this on a bit of a personal note, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about your experience in the past 15 months, and as we've been working from home and pushing through this challenging period, what's inspired you first, Margit, and then to Norman in getting through this period?
Thank you, Barry, for the question. while the last 15 months have been certainly challenging in many ways, I'm really inspired by how disciplined we have been to minimize the spread of the virus by staying home, working from home, remote schooling, wearing masks in public, and also how scientists globally have collaborated to develop the vaccine to mitigate the disease. I mean, there's still a way to go to reach the desired immunity level everywhere in the world, but I am just very grateful for all the biochemists, scientists, first responders that have worked together to save so many lives as possible. And with that, I'm really looking forward to flying again, traveling domestically and internationally soon as well. And finally meeting my team, my coworkers and Peapod Digital Labs in person in our offices.
Oh, that's great to hear. And by the way, the big event everybody's talking about, which we really haven't fully announced yet, but you've both been there before, is the big DPAA Global Summit, October 12th in New York City at Chelsea Piers on the Hudson River. It's going to be a place where we're all going to get together and see each other in person again in all three dimensions as opposed to two-dimensional work that we've been doing. So look forward to seeing you guys there again. I know you've enjoyed that in the past. How about you, Norm? What's been inspiring you during this challenging period?
Yeah, I mean, Barry, you've known me for a long, long time. My background as just a legacy out-of-home guy, like we touched on earlier. Right? I think what's inspired me over these years is just to see the resiliency and the scrappiness of of the folks who work in this business. It was pretty scary what everyone went through, and specifically for our business where people were leaving their homes less and being in the out-of-home industry, that was clearly concerning. But the ability to start to weave in data and new ways of buying, and we all sort of pulled together to find new ways to innovate, like we always do in the out-of-home industry. I think it's a testament to everyone that the membership of the DPAA and so on. So I think that part really was inspiring for me. I think Margit said it really well as far as just what's gone on from the scientists and first responders and essential workers to bring us out of what was a really an unprecedented moment in our lives, probably one of the more challenging ones. So I think to that end, I think we're all excited and kind of itching to get back to normal, and that's in places like bars and restaurants and malls and cinemas and venues that we all are longing for because we've been cooped up in our homes, right? So the ability for us to get back together, reconnect on a personal level, and have out of home be there to welcome us back. I think from all the screen fatigue that we've all experienced, I think those are the things that I'm looking forward to and inspired by.
That's really great and well said. You're both so well experienced in all of these areas. Norm refers himself as a legacy out-of-home guy. I'm going to change your definition to a legacy and innovative out-of-home guy, because you are really you've helped build a business and now you're helping take it to the next level. And Margit, the same thing with some amazing experience with. I mean, look, you've worked with some of the greatest brands, Disney and many others, and some of the biggest ad agency and out-of-home companies. So I'm delighted to have the experience on this video call, and I'm even more delighted when I see you folks back in person. Thank you for being part of DPAA Short Connects today, folks.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks, Barry.
And please, everybody, for more of this, join us on June 24th at the CPG Digital Out of Home event, co-hosted with Quotient.